Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a concept that fundamentally transforms how organizations operate, and more importantly, how they massively increase their profitability. We're looking at the core principles of Six Sigma. If you haven't heard of it, it's a methodology designed to basically ruthlessly eliminate process waste and skyrocket efficiency. So if you've ever wondered how top-tier companies consistently widen their profit margins without necessarily selling more products, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to ask yourself, what is the true cost of poor quality in your organization? Think about it. Every single day, businesses suffer from these invisible financial leaks. They're silently draining resources, wasting time, and ultimately bleeding money, often without leadership even realizing the true extent of the damage. Today, we are going to expose those leaks. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with the cost of guessing, move into how variance is the ultimate profit killer, calculate the hard cost of poor quality, reveal the Sigma savings scale, and finally, look at the massive benefits that exist beyond the balance sheet. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the cost of guessing. Historically, a lot of organizations have relied heavily on a leader's intuition, or maybe just some risky beta testing. A leader with a bit of clout gets a good idea, they lean on their past experience, and they just launch it to see what happens. Now, Six Sigma doesn't negate the need for experienced leadership, not at all, but it does demand strict measurement and metrics. It provides a mathematical and statistical foundation for decision-making. Your intuition might tell you a process is broken, but it's the statistics that will actually prove it to be true and guide the exact fix you need. Because let's be real, when you ditch the data and just throw ideas into a beta test to see what sticks, you hit some serious hazards. Unintended consequences start rippling through your workflow. You bleed money on bad ideas. And honestly, the worst part? Every public failure chips away at your customers' trust. Guessing is simply way too expensive a strategy. And that brings us to Section 2, variance, the profit killer. So, to defeat this invisible enemy I mentioned earlier, we need to really understand our weapon. Six Sigma is a methodology and a statistical concept with one primary target, variation. The whole premise here is that variation is inherent in absolutely every process, whether you're manufacturing car parts or, delivering a digital service. Six Sigma seeks to define, measure, and ultimately eliminate that variation. Let's move to this next slide and see how this builds. It's kind of like a destructive domino effect. Step 1, variation occurs in your process. That variation immediately creates opportunities for error. Those opportunities then inevitably become actual product defects. And finally, those defects land right in the hands of your users, resulting in poor customer satisfaction. By working to squash variation at step 1, Six Sigma naturally cuts process costs and keeps the customer happy. A really great way to visualize this is the classic baking analogy. Think about baking cookies. If your oven heats to exactly 350 degrees every single time, and you measure every single ingredient to the exact gram, you're going to get perfect cookies. Nobody likes burnt cookies, and nobody likes burnt profit margins. Removing the variance guarantees a consistently perfect product. And in a business context, a perfect product means predictable, maximized profit. It practically all boils down to this singular truth from our source material. Variance is the root of many defects. If you want to increase productivity and create maximum profit, you literally cannot just put band-aids on the defects. You have to attack variance at its very root. Which leads us straight into Section 3, the cost of poor quality. Let's look at exactly how much these unmanaged defects cost a business on a daily basis. I want you to imagine a scenario from the source material where a process is so poorly managed that 50% of the items produced require rework. Yes, half. Half of everything your team makes has to be pulled off the line, diagnosed, and fixed. Just think of the staggering waste in labor, materials, and time right there. So what does that 50% rework rate actually mean for the business? Well, it means the process is likely producing 40% less output on a daily basis than it's actually fully capable of. You are serving fewer customers, generating significantly less revenue, and utterly crippling your company's overall profit. And it's all because of the cost of poor quality. Now, let's look at the financial flip side in Section 4, the Sigma savings scale. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how directly quality correlates to total revenue. Corporations track the cost of quality as a % of sales, and it aligns incredibly closely with the company's Sigma level. Check this out. At a level 2 Sigma, your cost of quality is above 40% of your sales. But watch the dramatic financial savings as you improve. Jump to level 4 and you've cut that down to 15 to 25%. Hit level 5 and you're looking at just 5 to 15%. And here is the ultimate goal. Reaching a level 6 Sigma reduces the cost of quality to less than 1% of sales. Just imagine taking 39% of your gross sales that used to be burned on rework, errors, and wasted time, and injecting that directly back into your company's balance sheet. That right there is exactly why Six Sigma saves money. But the methodology isn't just about hard math. Let's explore Section 5, Beyond the Balance Sheet. A really common misconception is that improving quality just means hiring an army of inspectors. But adding layers of quality assurance programs over fundamentally broken processes just adds appraisal activities, and it actually ends up increasing your costs. Six Sigma does the exact opposite. It builds preventative checks and balances directly into the processes themselves. It basically transforms your workflows into self-regulating engines that are constantly preventing defects before they even happen. Now, of course, getting there requires some highly rigorous cost-benefit analysis before you start a project. A true Six Sigma team will weigh the upfront costs like, investing in new software, upgrading equipment, or staff training against the long-term benefits. You have to prove that the eventual spike in product margin and cost savings will vastly outweigh that initial investment. So the crucial point is that the benefits go far beyond just immediate cash flow. When you actually fix broken processes, you remove those daily frustrations that burn your team out. And this leads to incredible intangible benefits, a massive reduction in expensive employee turnover, significantly increased employee satisfaction, better management of healthcare costs, and even increased organizational compliance. Literally, improving the process improves the morale of the entire company. We have seen how guessing costs you, how variance eats your profits, and how reaching a level 6 Sigma can practically eliminate the cost of poor quality from the balance sheet. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Look around your own organization today. Do you know where your invisible leaks are? What is your company's Sigma level? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this empowers you to start asking the right questions about your own processes. Catch you next time.